discussion, but I want to first introduce the first speaker, Tomasz Łysak, who is an associate professor at Warsaw University. He focuses in his work on the representations of the Holocaust in relation to trauma studies and even psychoanalysis. And here I want to mention, as an example, his monograph Od kroniki do filmu post-traumatičnega, filmy dokumentárne a saguacie, roughly translated as From Chronicle to Post-Traumatic Film, documentaries about the destruction. I hope this was more or less right. Yeah, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to mimic Nicola's choice in place of delivering my talk. So today I'm going to address Yolocaust, which I guess most of you must have heard of. And I remember when I first heard of it, it was probably a day after it went online. There was a lot of enthusiasm in many places about this project. And after, I would say, careful examination, it turns out that most of this enthusiasm was rather wrong, at least from my perspective. And I'm going to explain why this may be so. So I'm looking at this project from a theoretical perspective of certain developments in the digital world. So I'm thinking about platform capitalism, but also curating visibility. So certain things internet users do, but which is based on some rules that they do not know because these rules were established by companies that keep them secret. So that's this kind of environment in which these projects happen. So Yolocaust, the word itself, was created, we don't know by whom, but first, its morphology. So it's a neologism that was coined from YOLO, which is an acronym that was introduced by a Canadian rapper, Drake, in 2011. So this is when YOLO kind of surfaced, and the word Holocaust. And when it comes to potential interpretations, so we do not know what was the intention of the person who coined this word first, or what were the intentions of people who coined this word. So it may be a hyperbole, it may be a slang expression for something, but it may also convey a critical attitude towards social media culture. So these are kind of possible interpretations of this word. So it appeared online on January 18, 2017, and it was instantly picked by The Guardian and the New York Times, and both media outlets were enthusiastic about it. And this project was presented as a series of selfies that were taken from Facebook, Instagram, Tinder, and Grindr. But it turns out that only 3 of 12 photographs that were presented on the website that was posted by Shahak Shapira are in fact selfies. 9 other photographs might be selfies, but they were not definitely handheld selfies. And when it comes to metadata, there is some metadata visible when photographs were reappropriated. So what was the concept all about? So these photographs are cropped to 10:9, which is almost like 1:1 on Instagram. So it's like an instantly recognizable format. And when you clicked on a photograph that was reappropriated, you started an animation. So after 2 seconds, the color image was desaturated, and you ended up seeing a composite image that consisted of the person and the background that showed the victims of the Holocaust. And, well, some of these people, some of these dead bodies that were shown might have been the victims of the Holocaust, but again, since this project is so sloppy, we cannot tell, at least each time. So it was a website-based project. So it used this Yolocaust.de as the main site, and it contained instructions how to undouche yourself, to quote Shapira. So people photographed had to apologize to him for being stupid. And all images were taken down after a week. So it was, I would say, well, a rather short time. However, this promise that you can get undouched on the internet was something that cannot be fulfilled. I mean, these photographs are still on the internet. So if you want to have a look at them, it's kind of easy to find them. So for example, when you use Google Images, they are still there. And the website serves as an incomplete archive for the project. So this is how this website looks now, or how it looked, I don't know, a month ago. So you have text in English and text in German explaining the concept of the project and the fact that all the photographs were removed from website. And as you can see here with Google Images, we have the original image and the composite image with this historical background. And for example, the first photograph in the project, this one, to me, it's definitely not a selfie, unless, well, the person had some superhuman powers. Okay, so what is my methodology here, and what analytical tools were used in order to unpack this project? So first, Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive, then Google Images, then Google Trends. I haven't used face recognition software because I think that it's kind of adding insult to injury, because he picked up on random people on the internet, and why I believe that it is possible to recognize these people and approach them using face recognition software. That was something that I didn't do, and I'm kind of not planning to do. And finally, I'm trying to think about what digital commemoration means and what it should be in the future. So this is the Internet Archive. As you can see, this website was registered or found by Wayback Machine in 2013. There was nothing there, and the colored dots are the dates on which Wayback Machine recorded this website. So for example, in 2016, this is March 7, the website is under construction. So it was, in a way, waiting to be used. Somebody was, maybe it was Shapira, maybe that was something else. This is something that we are not going to learn from Wayback Machine, but this website was waiting to be used. And as you can see on the timeline, once it went viral, Wayback Machine started recording it repeatedly a few times a day. So this is the earliest page grab, and it shows the photographs before being pointed with the cursor. And the first photograph says, "Jumping on dead Jews at Holocaust Memorial." And that was the first person who apologized, and the apology can be found on this website. And using Wayback Machine, you can reconstruct the chronology of people contacting Shapira and him taking down the photographs. And this is what happens when you click on the photograph. The animation, well, to call it an animation is a stretch, but I mean, well, it changes from one look to another. Okay, so when it comes to Google Trends, as you can see, there is a spike in January 2017, and then the project basically disappears. So it's not a long-term commemoration, and also, if you are going to use the website, you are not going to get the same thing as you would get at the beginning. So what are the precedents to this project? Because it seems to me that Shapira is quite clever in understanding how the internet works. And he is also clever in recognizing affects that people have using the internet. So the first affect that is being used by him is this negative affect against narcissistic selfie culture. So that was around the time when different newspapers in America, in the UK, were writing about this kind of terrible thing going on with mostly young women taking photographs of themselves instead of doing something that is kind of socially acceptable or kind of socially normalized. So that was kind of one target. Then there is this example of Auschwitz selfie. I'm going to show this selfie in a sec. And there are 3 other developments on the internet. So the first one is called the Internet Pitchfork Mob. So if you want to criticize something, you take a photograph of it, put this photograph online, and other people are going to do the dirty work of disciplining the person. They are going to call this person names. They are going to do things in order to shame this person into a specific behavior. It is also related to the concept of vigilantism, which is a neologism that was created from digital and vigilante. And these are people who are looking for negative things happening on the internet, and they are criticizing them, sometimes using hashtags or creating actions on the internet. And finally, call-out culture. Obviously, Imogen hasn't invented call-out culture. She was the person who wrote about call-out culture in reference to Holocaust imagery. But if you want to cancel someone, this is within this, this concept. Auschwitz selfie, that was kind of well known. Most people didn't know or didn't happen to care about the fact that Brianna explained herself, and her explanation was plausible enough for her to be forgiven on the internet. This part, most people, I guess, lost. So now a few ideas about Shapira's authority over images, because we might ask why this kind of random guy is trying to tell other people what to do with their self-representation online. So first, this is obvious for most of the people here, but I guess it's not obvious for people on the internet. The Memorial of the Murdered Jews of Europe is not a site of murder. So certain prohibitions that might be well justified, let's say in Auschwitz-Birkenau, do not necessarily need to apply in Berlin. So that's my kind of first comment. The second comment is the architect who designed this monument, Peter Eisenman, basically designed it for people to have fun. That was kind of part of his idea. So it looks like a cemetery, but it also looks like a giant playground. So this is kind of part of the design. When it comes to social media part, there's an article about Yolocaust that says that this monument is too beautiful not to be photographed. So there is a function of, I would say, commemorative architecture that is not kind of well studied, that all these kind of beautiful or less beautiful buildings might serve as a backdrop to photographs or some other activities, so for example, extreme sports. Okay, so these selfies that are being attacked here are an easy target. So Shapira wasn't risking too much because normally you could expect from an action like this a huge backlash. So Shapira, the whole project would backfire and he would lose his credibility online. Nothing like that happened. He was kind of praised for being this brave guy who showed his own understanding of how people should behave at the memorial. So White was an easy target. So there were probably 20 people that were photographed. So it's not a huge group. These were young people from around the world. Some people, I guess, were from New Zealand, some probably from Berlin. And he, I guess, also was thinking about kind of chances of retaliation. So that was, from my perspective, a calculated move. How to do this thing without getting hit back. And also, he was tapping onto other people willing to join in the shaming of those photographed online. So he already knew that people are shaming other people for doing things things online. And it seems to me that he was kind of absolutely great in using online tools. But when it comes to his approach to commemoration, this is something unethical. But this is also something that was emulated by institutions. For example, the Auschwitz-Birkenau Museum was trying to do a similar thing with people photographing themselves at the railroad tracks in Birkenau. However, it doesn't target at all real enemies of Holocaust memory. So alt-right is not there, neo-Nazis are not there, conspiracy theories are not targeted here. And now my conclusion. So it seems to me that we accepted the fact that we have rank and file users of the internet. Sometimes we call them influencers, but sometimes they are not influencers. Started commemorating the Holocaust. But then there is another question. Are we, or should we be so happy about rank and file users of the internet who are defending the good name of the Holocaust for some unknown reasons to us? And when it comes to Shapira, his main objective was self-promotion, because he started this project as a nobody, and after a few days, he was an international star. Thank you.